Hello and welcome to the Three Takes of Stupidity podcast. You have entered into the glamorous and glorious time of the year. It's Oscars time. And this year, we'll be starting... I haven't followed my script at all there. I have no idea what I'm saying. Hello and welcome to the Three Takes of Stupidity. Full stop. Was there a full stop there? Oh my god, I've done a James. How do I start this?
What do we do here?
Hello and welcome to the Three Takes of Stupidity podcast. You have entered into the glamorous time of year with the Oscars Trilogy. We are starting this one with some anti-government material. One battle after another. Please welcome my fellow cameradans. James.
Hello. Viva la revolution!
General Secretary Monk.
Voila.
I definitely flummoxed.
And I, of course. I'm not a communist, I'm a true capitalist believer. Much like most of the characters in this film were at the end.
Yeah.
This film has... This film has won as many Oscars as it has hours.
Well, Alex is not so much back with a bang. You won't know this. That took 7 tries to get that out, and that's what we got, and that's what we're going to go with. Is it good enough? Well, it'll have to be. What have you boys been up to this last few weeks?
I'll let Alex go first. Oh no, you let me go first.
He just did a load of talking.
I gestured towards you here.
I'll go first.
We don't need to hear his voice again after that just took 25 minutes.
I have carried on mine and Charlotte's rewatch of Torchwood and Parks and Rec. Those both going very, very well. I'm still thoroughly enjoying some old school Torchwood. I rewatched Dodgeball the other night because it was the first thing that I scrolled past on Netflix when I needed to go to bed. My God, what a film. We need to do that on the podcast. Genuinely up there as one of my favourite films. I am up to date on Shrinking. It's got 1 episode left of season 3. Very much looking forward to the season 3 finale. No spoilers. Then there are 3 new things that I've watched. I literally started it. One thing I started today is I've spoken about him on the podcast before. A comedian called Bert Kreischer. He has a sitcom on Netflix called Free Bert, where it's basically like a pseudo semi-biographical sitcom of like him and his daughters. Sitcom, I think, is quite it's not like a 3-camera sitcom like Big Bang Theory or Friends or anything. It's like a single camera show comedy. It's really good. I was laying on the couch watching it in tears of laughter for an hour watching the first 3 episodes, and I would have finished all 6 if I didn't have to make dinner. It's that good. Alex, I think you'd really like it. I have also watched a film that Alex recommended a couple podcast episodes ago, I Swear. The John Davidson biopic about him living with Tourette's. Loved it. I was in tears for the full 2 hours. It was an absolutely fantastic movie. Like, I don't know how that film wasn't nominated for any Oscars or anything like that, because he did drop a hard R in front of the world, so it's tough to be like. And as you said, literally the week after that happened, if only there was a film documenting the struggles of dealing with Tourette's when it makes you say things you don't want to say. So yes, I would highly recommend anyone to go watch I Swear. It was absolutely fantastic. And the other film that I went out to the cinema to watch these past few weeks, which Alex has also gone to see, was Project Hail Mary. And I fucking love that too. That was a fantastic movie.
And I will start mine by saying what a masterpiece that is. Like, I did not believe that I could love and feel for a rock. And also, I came out of this, I said to my partner I went to see it with, Ryan Gosling is so beautiful. He's so every single there's this, like, he wears his glasses on his chin. You're like, God, he wears the hell out of them glasses. He's not even wearing them. He's wearing them on his fucking chin. No, you got to go low. You got to like hang it from your ears, like almost like they're a necklace. It was. I tell you, watch it, James. Do not take your partner. You may leave empty-handed. Much like mine did. Nearly did.
What, was she just like searching for Ryan Gosling out of the cinema?
No, I was.
Yeah, fair. I thought it was fantastic. I thought everything was great. I didn't know until after I'd watched it that it was written by the same person. The original book that it's based on was written by the same person who wrote The Martian, because they are very similar in feel when you watch the film. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Like, I don't really know what else to say. Like, my entire Instagram feed is just filled with people talking about Project Hail Mary and memes and things.
I feel like when we come round to next year's Oscars, it has to get an honourable mention. I don't know if it'll still be in everyone's consciousness by then, but I feel like it was genuine. It was genuinely a really staggering film to watch. It was really good. Like, I've heard that people who've read the books have said that it's as true to the books as most films can be.
Yeah. He has a third book as well, which is of the same feel. I don't know what it's called off the top of my head. I reckon that book will be made into a film at some point as well, considering how well The Martian and Project Hail Mary have done. On Ryan Gosling being beautiful, have you ever seen him in Crazy Stupid Love with Emma Stone and Steve Carell?
No, but I've seen
there is a scene in that film.
The same clip of that all the time on Instagram. That film.
Is it the clip? Is it the clip where he takes his shirt off and Emma Stone goes, "Oh no, that's ruined the film." Oh, that's so annoying. I hate that for you. Crazy Stupid Love is a great film, and if you'd never seen that clip, because that clip does spoil it, what happens, but you should go and watch it because it's really, really good. Okay. But no, there's a scene in that film where he takes his shirt off and Emma Stone goes, "Are you serious? It's like you're photoshopped." Which is great. Alex, what else have you watched?
I'm trying to remember what I said last time that I'd watched. I'm pretty sure I brought up Platoon because I was annoyed that I hadn't watched it sooner. House,
you did,
I'm
actually.
in the middle of rewatching. Tires as well. Tires is very similar to your Bert Kreischer thing, I think, in terms of it being a single
Shane Gillis,
comedy.
Isn't it?
It's Shane Gillis's vehicle, yeah. It's very, very good. It's even better on the second time of watching. I feel like there was something else I watched, and my Boris Johnson impression got in the way there. I feel like it'll come back to me. James, what have you watched?
I've got a lot on the go at the moment. Scrubs still. 2 episodes left. Very sad that's gonna be gone. I think maybe we should do a little Scrubs series retrospective after when the series is finished, and the three of us, a little mini pod maybe just on that, because I think everyone knows that we, and me myself, thoroughly enjoyed it. Daredevil Born Again Season 2, or if you want to call it Daredevil Season 5, is out, and it is exceptional. The first series had some issues where they changed tact halfway through, where it was going to be a whole brand new thing. It was going to be a full reboot, but with the same actor, Charlie Cox, and some of the other cast, but mostly a full reboot. Then they decided to continue it from the Netflix shows, and that probably saved it. And it's phenomenal television. It's one of those, and I've mentioned a few things on the podcast like this. It's one of those shows where you should watch it, even if you're not a superhero fan. You should just watch it because it's great television. And if you like Batman, you should probably watch it. If you don't like superhero things, but you like gritty crime-esque dramas with vigilantes and great cinematography, and it's R-rated and 18 rated in the UK, I think might be 15, but either way, it's excellent. The Netflix ones were. This one is. Season 2 is really picked up where season 1 of Born Again left off, and it's without the issues number 1 had. Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin is just brilliant. Anyway, Invincible Season 4, which I did a TikTok on a while ago on the last series that did quite well. Just more of the same, but very good. And what do I really want to talk about? So let's stick to the man I am and the niche I have got on this podcast. Anime. The legendary author behind Full Metal Alchemist, an incredible anime and manga series, has had a new anime begin called The Demons of the Shadow Realm. Sounds naff, the title, but really, really good. These like prophesized twins are born and everyone's out to try and kill them, but and there's lots of factions, lots of war, a lot of death. While everyone has like these little like spirit companions that just are brutal, but it's a bit of an espionage, crime kind of supernatural thing. Kind of goes along with some of the television I think Chandler would like. Maybe not quite Doctor Who, but kind of elements of supernatural and crime fighting in a way, and mystery and things is along those lines. So yeah, really good, and it's from a legendary author, so can't complain.
Fair enough. There were two other things I actually really wanted to say quickly before we move on to the film. That we've not watched because they're not out yet, but by the time this is released, they will be out. The Boys season 5 comes out tomorrow as of recording.
Can't wait.
Which I assume James was really looking forward to.
Yeah.
And the second thing that will most likely be out by the time this is released, or maybe the day after this is released, is the Malcolm in the Middle miniseries is out in a couple days, which I'm really looking forward to, which I assume you guys will be as well. Alex is shaking his head no.
I don't give a fuck.
Oh, that's sad.
Wow.
I give a fuck. I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm not
as my family's
Scrubs,
own,
but I am.
as my family's own Dewey, I'm very much looking forward to it.
I did not hear the name you said. That sounded like something different.
I said, as my family's own Dewey,
Yeah.
I'm very much looking forward to it.
Anyway, I'm going to gloss over that. James, thank you very much for your anime suggestions.
Thank you, Alex. I appreciate it. There's only one episode of that one out thus far, but I've started to read the manga instead because I liked it a lot.
Good. And you keep eating those mangoes. Anyway, should we move on?
Yes, we should move on. So for our Oscars trilogy, I decided that my film would be One Battle After Another, which won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Casting, and Best Film Editing, as well as being nominated for Best Actor, more Best Supporting Actor, what else? Best Supporting Actress, Best Cinematography, Best Original Score, Best Production Design, and Best Sound. God, that was a lot to read out. But the film is about Bob, who is a washed-up revolutionary who lives in a state of stoned paranoia, surviving off-grid with his spirited and self-reliant daughter, Willa. When his evil nemesis resurfaces and Willa goes missing, the former radical scrambles to find her as both father and daughter battle the consequences of their pasts. It's got a 94% on Tomato Meter, 85 on the Popcorn Meter, 7.7 on IMDb, and James, you haven't in your screenshot for Letterboxd. I can't see what it's got on Letterboxd.
Cool. I'm going to get that for you while you reread that description because it wasn't very clean.
I wasn't very clean. I was fine with the description read. I just want to take one issue with the one line that you said, which was he eventually deals with his nemesis and goes to get his daughter. That is like 40
he doesn't fucking
minutes
do that.
of a two.
Yeah.
It's a 2 hour 40. For 2 hours they chat, and then for 40 minutes his daughter runs away, and he's like, "I'm gonna get my daughter back." It turns into Taken. That makes this film sound a lot quicker than it is. That's crazy.
This got a 4.2 on Letterboxd. It also completely misses out like that synopsis also completely misses out like the first act of the film of Tionia Taylor's character as well and things like that. That's quite a weird synopsis from
It is, but I do think that the structure of the movie where there is this, it truly is set up, issue, resolution. So it is just it's just like, I think we're so used to films blasting through the setup, whereas this film takes time to, and in a very interesting and gripping way, teach you the backstory of the characters around you, because it's 16 years passes before that part of the film is mentioned in the description. So you get like the first part, which is Alex is pulling so many faces. I wish, because it's a podcast audio format, I wish he would just make the noises as well out loud, because good content.
Unless you subscribe to our Substack, which you will get the video of our podcast.
Yeah, if Chandler gives me
I didn't want to say anything.
Which company details.
Which you can sign up for the low price of £3.50 a month when James sets it up.
Or like £25 for the year, or if you really, really have a lot of disposable income, it will be £100 for the year if you really, really like us. Yeah. Most of it will go to Chandler because he's actually been putting money for stuff. Interrupt my floor. Interrupt anything you like about me.
I didn't want to interrupt your floor because I was confused as to who you were and what you've done with James. Because James would have said this film was way too slow. The amount of build-up was crazy. The amount of just idle dialogue that was so unnecessary. It could have been, what is 3 pages of dialogue could have been a page.
So I found the build-up...
Yes, but you're also forgetting...
With,
but you're also...
Go on, Chana.
But no, what I was going to say is, the reason why James loved it, that the first act of this film, is because it was Viva la Revolution of James's ideal of life, and he was like, yes, come on, you left-wingers, fight the power, kill the ICE agents, yes, free everyone. That's why James fucking loved the beginning of the movie.
I mean, I think that's, to be honest, I think if you don't like ICE agents being mutilated, I think you're maybe in the wrong here.
All I'm going to say is this film is set periodically, so it's not set in Trump era or Obama era or anything like that. They were very specific about that. They didn't mention who was actually in charge of the country because they wanted to stay away from it. However, it is so fucking painfully obvious when this film is set.
I think...
No, I thought 90s. I was thinking like early 2000s.
Yes, with
like
the
late 90s.
with the iPhone with the iPhones as well, yeah?
That's at the end. The iPhones appear at the
end. No, just the concept of mobile phones and teens having mobile phones. That was not late 90s, early 2000s, was it?
That's what I'm thinking, early 2000s. It starts in the 90s, early 2000s, and then as the daughter of the main character grows up, that's when you enter into maybe the 2010s, like 2017, 18 era.
I think there's become the start of the film, I thought I was gripped through the whole thing, to be honest. I thought...
So wrong.
Tiana Taylor...
What? You were gripped? By what? A popcorn bucket?
Like, but I just thought that I thought it was the start was slow, but once it's sped up about like half an hour in, it is absolutely moving. And I thought the setup was needed because otherwise I wouldn't care about this daughter and I wouldn't care about a lot of the characters. Also, the early line in it where Tiana Taylor's character, Perfidia, what a strange name, she's like talked about coming from a line of revolutionaries, and then thus the rest of the story is about her daughter is quite important, and setting up that kind of idea of who she is, who Bob, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, is, who Regina Hall and all of the fellow revolutionaries are, and also setting up Sean Penn's Colonel Stephen Lockjaw, was all really important because you learn about who the characters are, you learn about what their motives are, and then why they're doing their things in the future and where they are, where they're at. A lot, because we are in such a place of sequel culture, we often know, or they're coming from a book or a separate source, we already know what kind of an idea of what these characters are before we even go into a movie. This, we don't. I don't know who any of these people are. I don't know what their deal is. I don't know why they're talking. If they were just talking about Perfidia without me seeing anything she did, I'd be like, this is weird. But all of her escapades with Bob at the start of the film, I personally found exciting and gripping, especially when she was fucking like decided to rob a bank because she's just like clearly has a kink for chaos. trying to fuck every time they blow something up or rob something is mental. But then also you get the moment with Lockjaw where she torments him, and then that sets up his whole motive for the rest of the film. So it's all very relevant. I didn't find this a long movie. I know we love hour and a half films. I just thought it was really quick. And that comes into the Oscar for editing, because it was so snappy and linear events happening simultaneously was so well done that I did not feel the near 3 hours, which, trust me, normally I fucking do.
I completely disagree.
Yeah, but you don't like good films. We know this. Your taste is trash.
Excuse me, Dodgeball is a fantastic movie. So is I Swear and Project Hail Mary. I completely disagree, because I think the only reason you need the 40 minutes at the start, as cool and as good as it is, I think the only reason you need it is so you actually you care about Lockjaw and his motivation, so you know that and why he's so hell-bent on what he wants to do. Sean Penn's character. Because you see it in movies all the time, whether it's a sequel or whatever, like you have a daughter and people talk about their parents or their lineage and you still care, and it's a bit more of a mystery and stuff, and you still care about this character. So I disagree that you need it for her, for caring about her. You need it more to know why Lockjaw is a cunt, essentially, and a crazy person.
Show don't tell. Show don't tell.
You're saying, so just say again what you just said, Chandler.
That you only the reason why the 40 minutes, I think you need the first 40 minutes to prove why Lockjaw is a cunt and his motivations in the film, rather than caring about Willa's motivations. Essentially, you can't just have. Yes, you probably can in these films these days. You can't just have racist white guy wants to kill black people.
No, that's not at all
and
what
foreigners.
I got from. That's not at all what I got from the film and what you just said. He has a kink for black ladies, and that's why he wants to catch her. Guy is just horny. I don't think there's any of this. Like he has a motive. She just kink shames him at the start. And he's like, I'm kind of into this.
I think there's a bit more to it. Like he is something we hear about often, where he is a self-loathing racist because he is attracted to who he perceives as lesser and does not clearly like himself for it, because he wants to get into that weirdly named Santa Claus club of white supremacists.
Christmas adventurers.
Again, also, if you frame the film a bit differently, in the start of the film is Perfidia's story, and then you move into Willa's story. So they are, like, if you think of them that way, it's very, because it that's what it is. And Perfidia's story leads into Willa's story. If you wanted to, you probably could have had two separate films longer than that, but it absolutely is.
I disagree.
You're wrong.
I don't think it's Willa's story.
You can't disagree with that. The start of the film is Perfidia's story.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I wasn't disagreeing with that. I wasn't disagreeing with that part. I was disagreeing with the fact that the second part of the movie is Bob's story. It's not Willa's story. The whole second act of the film is majoritarily framed from DiCaprio's point of view, not his daughter's.
I don't think it's either or. I'd rather argue it's both.
Yeah, you can argue it's both. Yeah, whatever. You can argue it's both, because it doesn't matter. The point I was also going to make on is the thing about editing is I don't think this film grips you for 2 hours and 41 minutes. It definitely doesn't. For me,
it definitely doesn't.
It just doesn't. I think the whole weird thing, and it would come on to my take later on, but the whole weird thing about the Christmas Adventurers, which is the dumbest naming of secret group who runs the world I've ever heard in my life, was just so dumb, and all of that. It was a bit creepy, but it was just so dumb, and it doesn't grip you, and it takes you out of the film. You need that as a reason to why he wants to kill Willa or capture her. Fine, whatever. They are
the name, just on the name. I don't
think it needs to come across like that.
It is a piss take on or it is criticizing and taking the piss and parroting Christian nationalist societies, the Zodiac Club, those around Jeffrey. It was clearly to. There were a lot of
Zodiac Club sounds cooler than Christmas Adventurers.
Yeah, but I think it's to make them be like a joke. Like they're not going to be put.
Yeah, but then just go the whole hog and just make them. Just go the whole hog and just make them into the clan. Like, make it scary.
Yeah. But I think that's the point.
Yeah.
They clearly are the Klan, but they are upper echelon fucking elitists. It's a silly name, don't get me wrong, but I do think there's a reason for it. Like,
so around Oscars, I think out of the 6 that it won, I think the only one that it deserves to win is Sean Penn's supporting actor Oscar.
Yes. Just for the walk, the walk and the haircut. That's what he deserves it for.
Yeah. I think a close second would have been Tiana Taylor's for Perfidia. I thought she was very good in the movie as well.
If she was in the whole
in her
film
fast part
and not just in the first 40 minutes, yes. I think the reason she doesn't win that is purely because of the length of time she's in the movie. She's in it for an extended episode of television.
Completely disagree. Because if I'm not mistaken,
what the fuck?
If I'm not mistaken, I think Judi Dench won Best Actress for being in a film for 8 minutes. So for Shakespeare in Love. Also, Anthony Hopkins won Best Actor for Silence in the Lambs when he was only in it for 24 minutes in a 2-hour movie. So,
Anthony Hopkins' character is iconic. Her character gives Sean Penn a boner and then stands on the toilet and rubs her tits in his face. But
it was classfully done.
Constantly trying to have sex with Leonardo DiCaprio, and he's like, "We've just planted a bomb," and she's like, "Yeah, but sexy bomb, right?"
What film did Judi Dench win that?
Is it Shakespeare in Love?
Shakespeare in Love.
I'm sorry, there should be a fucking percentage of a film you're in before you can win an Oscar. That's absolutely out-fucking-rageous.
Was I right? Is it 8 minutes?
Give or take, yeah.
Yeah. See, that's why I'm the knowledge on this podcast. There is a reason to why
she's
this
in it
film
for like 15 minutes, but she got 8 nominations or something.
Oh, there you go. Oh, I was fucking wrong. 15 minutes then.
What?
Yeah, there is a reason why this film won Best Picture. Out of the films that got nominated, there is a reason why this film got Best Picture. It's because, hey, look, I'd like to point out, before I say what I'm about to say, I very much consider myself centrist in a lot of things. I think this film won because of how political this film is, and it's all Hollywood wanting to show how moral they are. Out of all the 10 films that got nominated, that is the only reason. Out of the only film I've seen that also got nominated for Best Picture currently, and that was Sinners. Sinners is a better movie than this, and we all know what I think of Sinners already.
I'm interested to watch Sinners then. I knew before coming into this podcast, I had a prediction. I didn't know if it would be both of you, but I knew it definitely would be one of you, and it would be that.
I'd also like to point out, I didn't know anything about this film before I sat down and watched it. I knew I didn't was that DiCaprio was in it and it won Best Picture. I had no idea, and literally about an hour and a half in, I went, "Oh, this is so obvious why this won Best Picture." I
knew as soon as I watched the movie, one of the critiques one of you two, whether both of you or one of you would have, would be something that cinema has been famous for, considered important for, and has always had films do extremely well for, is critiquing real life and modern events and current events.
I agree. I completely agree. I don't think this is the film that does it.
And there's often what is said is on the nose. And on the nose is often used in a derogatory sense in regards to films such as this. Yes, it are the themes and the political state of the time and place they're in the US exponentially inspired by ICE, concentration camps, and current events, yes. Being on the nose does not have to mean that something is bad, and I think they did it well. And to be honest, most of that part is mostly, and it does do it. And it's mostly a backdrop in this film. The story is about a revolutionary group. It's not even about the revolutionary group. It's about a few people that were in a revolutionary group that were freeing people from ICE like facilities, and then also doing some other shit. And then Benicio del Toro's incredible character, who was helping immigrants and people I assume had lost kids that had lost parents to those camps and things. It being on the nose is not bad, and I think it did it well. And I don't know what you want for it. If you don't think it did do it well, what do you want it to do differently? It doesn't have to be abstract, and it didn't take the piss. It just kind of was there. It wasn't the main point of the film, so that's why I think it did it really well.
Yeah, no, these films are always, they are what they are. Like, it's a revolutionary film set in the US, a country that had one revolution, it went pretty well, and they're never going to have another one because they pretty much cracked it. Like, they're always these films that everyone's like, oh, that would never happen in real life. Well, no, yeah, it would never happen in that country, because if you tried it, you would get what Sean Penn gets at the end of the film, which is a shotgun full of face.
Yeah. Spoilers.
Just on that as well, before I come back, I also think the reason why this film doesn't grip you for the whole 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Shotgun. Yeah.
Why does he need to survive the face full of shotgun? Why? We already know that the Christmas adventurers are cunts and terrible, terrible people. Why do we also then need to see him be gassed by the Christmas adventurers? That 10 minutes is pointless. He dies irrespective of whatever happens. Just take the face full of shotgun and let him die.
This is what I mean with this film, though. There are so many. There's like so many pages that they could have read in the script and gone, "What are you doing this for?" And they'd be like, "Because I wrote it down." I'd be like, "Yeah, but you don't have to do it." And they're like, "Look, it'll cost us like $1,000. I've got an office building already. We can just use my office. We'll just do it. We'll add the sound effects of the gas coming in. You won't actually see the gas. You won't put like colour in it. You just have to sit there and just die."
I have some critiques of this film, but that didn't bother. I did also think, why the fuck is he still alive? But I guess you can survive a shotgun to the jaw as long as it doesn't go to your brain.
No, you can't. You cannot survive a shotgun to the face. You cannot survive a shotgun to the face.
People have survived bullets in their brain.
Yeah. But you're also missing the fact that he crashed his car going 100 miles an hour as it rolled down a fucking hill.
Yeah, I'm talking like...
You might be able to survive... You might be able to survive one or the other, not both.
No, I am, to be fair, talking about
mad Princess Diana trivia act.
I'm doing a very kind 5% survival chance. But there's probably a survival chance like fucking people that have jumped out of airplanes and survived. You know what I mean? It's hugely unbelievable. But what it did give is, I thought, quite a funny scene of him giving his dream and then just being killed immediately. And I was like, well, this is slightly a comment of, the American work-life balance and dying for your job. And also, he's also a super racist. Was it saying something? Yes. Was it needed? Probably not. Did I enjoy it? Yeah. My main critique... I don't have many critiques of this film because I just enjoyed it. It was good. Do I think it should have won Best Picture? I'll be honest, no, I don't. It didn't... It didn't...
I was not seeing that coming.
I don't think it's... So of the 3 Oscar films we watched last year and now this, it would probably go third in my list of all of those. Where I'd probably go Anora, A Real Pain, this, and then the fucking biopic way off last.
What is that film called? What is that? What is the Bob Dylan film called?
No, but that's exactly the point. You know,
A Complete Unknown. A Complete Unknown. Which ironically I forgot.
Like, I thought the casting was very good.
That film.
There's not a lot to talk about casting. Tiana Taylor's an interesting one because she's a musician first and foremost and a singer. And I liked seeing Leonardo DiCaprio as a paranoid stoner. I thought he played it really well. And if honestly, for me, Leo shouldn't have been nominated. Benicio del Toro should have been nominated for every acting role just for that drunk scene where he's talking to the police officers. He was an absolute Donny.
I can probably say...
I would...
Go on,
I'm exaggerating, but, you know.
I would agree with that, but all I saw was his character he was playing in the Wes Anderson films. That was all I saw in that performance.
Yeah, fair.
I was like...
Fair.
I've seen this character. But maybe that's because he gave such a good performance in that film.
Yeah. Fair. I genuinely think that. Wait 1 sec. I just want to comment on Best Picture again. I genuinely think this is maybe the second worst film to win Best Picture Oscar this century.
I think you're massively overhating a film that has been generally well reviewed. Which is often what you do for anything that's considered good. You just don't like it. You just don't like good things. You like trash, and that's fine.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
That's like
How
you
good was
probably.
Project Hail Mary on
with the Trump. James has gone with the Trump defense. Oh, you're trash. You don't like it. You don't like good things. You don't like them.
Genuinely, right? The only film that I think is worse than this in the 27 years technically.
You're going to destroy civilization.
This century is probably Crash. I think that's the only film that's worse than this out of the ones that have won Best Picture. Like you go from 2000, American Beauty. Yeah, Crash famously won Best Picture over Brokeback Mountain. American Beauty, Gladiator, Beautiful Mind, Chicago, Lord of the Rings, $1 Million Baby, Crash. We'll leave that one out. Departed, No Country for Old Men, Slumdog Millionaire, King's Speech, Hurt Locker, Ian Canning, The Artist, Argo, 12 Years a Slave, Birdman, Spotlight, Moonlight, Shape of Water. Funny how Spotlight and Moonlight won 2 years in a row. That's quite funny. Shape of Water, Green Book, Parasite, Nomadland, Coda, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Oppenheimer, Anora, one battle after another. I have named 25 better movies. And I think it's a critique on what I said a couple weeks ago whenever we did it, that the Best Picture nomination and winners are getting worse and worse over time.
That, I think, for the most part, is recency bias. Nostalgia always trumps anything with anything. You can shake your head all you want. That is recently unbiased is probably a better way to put it. But like that is a fact of life. Things that came out when you were younger are always considered better. However, unique IP in cinema is clearly in a bad place. I think it's improved over the last 5 years, but we know it's been in a terrible place. We talked about it ad nauseum. So there's that argument as well to maybe say you're right. But I think it is more nuanced that you're just saying they're worse, because I think you're just giving a blanket statement without any nuance. But there are,
fine.
There are reasons for and against.
I can agree with that blanket statement.
There are reasons for and against.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm annoyed that I had to sit through this film and watch it.
I can't believe how much
you're annoyed. Why?
Things. I don't get.
And this is my pick. I only picked it because it won Best Picture.
I don't get why you're annoyed.
I hate wasting my time. It's
a good film.
Did you think you wasted your time? I thought I wasted about an hour.
A little bit.
But I said, this is going to be my take. I thought the first act, I was bored. Obviously, I sort of want to retract what I said earlier as well. The first 20 minutes of the film, I'm into it because they're like doing stuff, and I was like engaged.
Yeah.
And then they just
I agree with that.
and I was
100%.
Like, all right. The chatter is getting old now. And then when I got into Act 2, it starts ramping up. There's a bit more of the thriller in it. There's a bit more like tense music coming in. There's a lot of building, a lot of suspense, and you're like, oh, okay, I wonder where this is going. I like when he's on the run from the ICE agents. You're like, oh, okay, we're doing a bit more of what we saw in the first 20 minutes. Okay, we're getting back to it. So I would argue I wasted 40 minutes to an hour.
There are
downswings.
Yeah,
but you can't have Act 2 and 3.
You can't have downswings of an hour. That is more than a third of your runtime. Like then also win that amount of Oscars.
Yeah.
I don't remember feeling that many bits of downtime. There's not the bits I don't like about the film are not related to pacing, because I thought it was really snappy. I thought that's why I think it won Best Editing, is that how it made you feel with the cutting and the music, especially in the middle section of the film where Leo is being trying to be chased by the police basically and trying to escape with Benicio del Toro, and he is so fucking paranoid, and the conversations on the revolutionary phone that can't be tracked it's brilliant. That whole sequence is really long.
I loved the Jobsworth guy on the other end of the phone.
Yeah. And I love the Jobsworth guy at the end.
It was like, I need to know what time it is. I need to know what time it is. Tell me what time it is. What the fuck time it is. Like, I loved that even in revolutionaries, there are still people who take their job far too seriously.
To be honest, even though he's annoying, if he doesn't do that, then their whole thing doesn't exist. For the other guy who knows him, Leo, coming along on and being like, "That's a fucking living legend, you twat. He's not been around for 16 years. Apologise now." Like, is fair enough. But like
I also
kind
loved
of
that the guy was an old guy as well.
Yeah, same. I thought he was going to be like 12. But that middle section of the film where Leo is basically trying to escape, where it has just this one music track, it's called the French 75, in the background, which is like all this really like piano single keys beeping.
I was genuinely like, where the fuck's that music coming from? For a sec before James brought his phone out.
I loved that music, and because it reminded me as well of this. It's heavily inspired by this in Legend of Zelda, which is.
I'm really glad you've played those only for 5 seconds in case of copyright.
Nice, but it's the theme I think it's heavily inspired by is called Riding Day, because it's a horse riding song from Legend of Zelda, the game. Anyway, they're very similar, but that whole sequence for me is why and then towards the end of the film is why, for me, I understand why it won Best Editing. I was so tense. I was so paranoid. And I was like, this is stressful. And then I quite liked him falling off the roof. That was really funny.
When? When was it stressful?
The middle the middle section of the film where the police are searching for him before he gets arrested, which then he's freed from secret revolutionaries immediately. So did Act 1 work on you then? Did you care for him? Because I didn't particularly care for him because he was just being like, they were always so close behind him. There was never like they're getting closer. It was always, it was like a cartoon. They would open a door, he would just close another door, and it was like, oh, okay, so he's just got away again. I didn't particularly care. The start of the film didn't necessarily make me care about him very much. That part of the film, and then towards the end where he's searching for Willa, made me care about him. But I don't think the film is asking you to care about him in that instance. It's asking you to care about the situation. You'll care about how he has to go find Willa. You know she's been taken and she's gone and he needs to find her. And then I care about, in the start of the film that did work for me, was learning about Perfidia and then watching her go off the wagon, getting pregnant, her thing with Lockjaw, that was tough to watch at times. I cared about Perfidia, and then thus I cared about her child and the threats on her child from Lockjaw, and I cared about what Lockjaw was going to do. But I don't think I cared about Leonardo DiCaprio's character because I don't think that's what they necessarily want you to do. In that instance, you care about him in the idea of him going to save Willa.
I saw every single one of these turns coming. When he was like, she's my child, I was like, well, I saw that coming. And then he got caught, Leo got caught by the ice people, I was like, well, I saw that coming. And then Lockjaw goes and just kidnapped. Like, for a thriller, there wasn't any moment where I went, oh my god, apart from where they killed Sean Penn in the office, because I was like, oh, so he survived a gunshot to the face and now he's dead in an office. That was the only time in the whole film I went, oh, I didn't actually see that coming.
Was my critique, and you brought it up there, it was quite predictable at times. I didn't actually think he was going to get caught by ice.
At times. That surprised me. The whole thing was very predictable.
But I predicted...
I completely agree with Alex.
I was like, there's another car, and I was like, the Christmas geezer's going to come get him. And then when he was alive, I was like my partner, she was like, they're going to gas him in that office room. She was like, they're going to do it. And then, lo and behold, it happened. I thought he would get Willa.
Did she say that before or after the hissing? From the vent.
Before the hissing.
She said it before.
She said it before he was even put in the office.
I'd check your vents.
But like, there were points of it which I found predictable. I did think Perfidia would come back though, and I was surprised that didn't happen. Also, I need to correct myself. It is based on a book called Vineland.
It won the Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay.
So yeah,
it's adapted from something. I'm just gonna say my last thing. I'm gonna say is I agree with Alex. The whole film is predictable, which is another reason why it doesn't grip you.
I said a lot of it grips
because you're just sat there going, that's gonna happen, that's gonna happen, that's gonna happen, and it's not.
Unless James, you had a severe head injury before watching this film and had never seen a film before. then yeah,
no,
it's not very predictable.
I predicted a lot of stuff that was going to happen, but that doesn't always mean to me that something is bad. I didn't think he'd get caught by ice, and the way they framed it and cut and edited it, I found that was that sequence to be very stressful. And then the whole last act of the film of Willa trying to escape. Like, I know she's going to escape. Like, we know the good guys are going to win in a superhero film. It doesn't mean that the journey isn't good. Like, it's why endings are so hard to stick. Because, and for me, this film, watching it, I was like, the ending's fine. The journey was what I enjoyed. And that's what I thought was good and enjoyable. Like, but being predictable doesn't mean a film is going to be bad.
You can't have a completely predictable screenplay. Otherwise, I'll just write the most obvious film ever and win a fucking Oscar. You can say the other things of like it grips you, editing, music, whatever, and it wins that. But then to win also an Oscar for best adapted screenplay when we've all just agreed the film is entirely predictable, it shouldn't win that one then either.
You did say it was very hard to stick the ending, James. That was the bit I predicted the most. He ends up with an iPhone and she has a brand new Ford in the driveway. I was like, after the revolution has failed, then I'm guessing.
I was like, they succeeded. I like to think positively, Alex, that this revolution succeeded.
The other thing that this film points us to is the age-old fact that the older you get, the more to the right you become.
Right then, takes time. I will begin, because as Disney said, Alex should start. What to say
Make yourself laugh a minute, like literally a second in.
I don't know why. Let's go through the Oscars that it won. Best Picture, that makes sense because it's set in, I think, California. And if you put a film in the desert, everything's going to look beautiful. And then you put... Actually, no, I was going to say then you put Leonardo DiCaprio in it. He's not beautiful in this, because I have seen The Pinnacle of Beauty, and Ryan Gosling still isn't returning any of our messages. No, actually, I'm not going to... I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. I liked 60% of this film. That is my take. I like 60% of this film. 40% of it... Actually, no, 20% of it I would delete. 20% of it I would just hurry up with a little... Speed. Come on. We can talk about this. We can talk about this later. Come on. Like, first act, I was bored for quite a long time. Maybe if I'm watching this in the cinema, I'm a bit more locked in. But I wasn't gripped at all. Sean Penn, I'm chuffed he got an Oscar for how he portrayed his character. I thought he portrayed it very well. He sort of had sinister undertones at the start. He had a funny little walk, and to have that haircut for the whole time of filming is very similar to what's his face from No Country for Old Men. Javier Bardem. It did have at certain points an old western feel, which I quite liked. That I was sort of nostalgic about it, just in terms of there was some nice editing with the sound. Does it deserve all of the Oscars? I'd give it maybe 3 of them. I'd probably say Best Picture because it is in the desert. Sean Penn deserved his. Best Adapted Screenplay, I have no idea. It could have been a shit book. Best casting, the casting is just they got some great people to sign on the dotted line. And best film editing, I feel like they could have done more cuts, so I'm going to take that one off them.
Good,
Chandler.
Thank God. No, it's James first. It's James next. It's my pick. I go last. Go on, James.
I thoroughly enjoyed this film. It's not going to be in the list of my favourite films of all time, but I did think it was good.
Thank God.
I don't think it's Chandler, there is a severe problem we need to have with you about the the idea of being able to have things that aren't great and shit, but sometimes things are good, great, amazing, okay, fine, bit meh, poor, and you like so much crap. It's unbelievable. I think you need to have.
I don't think it's shit. I think it's just poor.
That's fine, but I do. And you're entitled to your opinion. But historically, on this podcast, you've proven yourself to just hate. You just hate things that people consider good, and you love things that people think are shite. And I think that although you have great knowledge, your taste might be as fucking awful.
Get back to your own take, you prick.
That's my fucking take.
All right, fine.
No,
I'll go
it's
into
not.
Mine then.
No. As I said, I thoroughly enjoyed this film. I was gripped throughout. Doesn't mean it didn't have like little lulls here and there, but I did really enjoy it. I didn't find it a long 3 hours. And if you've listened to any of our other episodes, we love a film that's an hour and a half. And trust me, when we see something that's over maybe 2 hours and 12 minutes exactly, if it's over that, damn, are we second guessing our decisions about what we're doing that week. But I didn't feel that with this, and that's where, contrary to what Alex said, I think best editing, I can understand why it won the award, and Andy Jurgensen is attributed with that. Look, need to see the next films in the trilogy, and I think a lot of things you might think get best editing because they might have CGI in them, or they might have something like stop motion in them, or they might do something clever and new, or they might be a space film. This is grounded, and I was like, how does a grounded film win best editing? And I get it. The sense of, regardless of my feelings of predictability with a lot of scenes and some points in this movie, I was stressed out. The score, as I mentioned earlier, especially in that middle section, it just goes on and on and on for so long, but it's so snappy, so quick, and so many things are happening at once. And then the non-linear editing and the simultaneous events happening throughout the film is why I think it won best editing, because it's done really, really well. There's so many things going on all the time, and sometimes you'll be watching a film and think, oh, that is happening after that. It's very clear that things are happening simultaneously all the way throughout, and it's done really, really well. And damn, I thought the scenes where Willow was trying to escape in the third act, and when Bob was trying to escape in the kind of the middle of the film, were just really brilliant. And that's when I felt the most watching this. But it did have issues with predictability. The way I think, spoilers, Sean Penn's character Lockjaw passed, that was killed, was I knew someone was going to come and shoot him. We knew that was going to happen. Him surviving, I was like, oh, okay, right, he's probably going to die somehow in another way now. It just like, you could guess some of the action points of this film, and I don't think that's necessarily a problem. You know, a superhero is always going to win in a superhero film. You know, the good guys tend to win. That all movies can be very predictable, and what do you want? And then if a film starts subverting all your expectations all the time, then you'll just realise that that's what that film's doing, and then that's predictable. So predictability doesn't have to be bad, but was the journey worth it? And for me, the journey was worth it. Should it have won 6 Oscars? Maybe not. Best Picture, fine. As Alex said, best adapted screenplay, sure. The book might be amazing. Who knows? I haven't read it. Film editing, I'll accept. I can accept all of them, but should it have won all of them? The one, I agree, best supporting actor, Sean Penn, was brilliant. He had to play a character that is basically a white supremacist military man. He does that very well, but he also has a fetishization, a kink for black women, and he plays those two facets of his personality, of Lockjaw, really, really well. And the subtleties of things, like when he's being asked, how do you feel about, have you ever been in an interracial relationship, and how he reacts to that question later on, if he's ever slept with a black woman, he claims he was raped. That scene's really good. You've really got to read his facial expressions. He is fantastic in it, and I think it's the most thoroughly deserved award on the list. another issue, there's a great article in The Guardian. I won't go too deeply into it. It's by Ellen E. Jones. I highly recommend you read it. It's about how a number of the characters were, who are white in the book, were cast as black women in the film. By the by, don't really care about that ever when that happens. Like, lots of weird incels seem to get worked up about when it happens all the time. But what is a slight issue is the cliche written and depicted black women in this, most notably Perfidia, played by Tiana Taylor, and the character of Jungle Pussy. As the writer of this article puts, note to white male screenwriters, not every black woman talks like Cardi B, and not even Cardi B sounds like a Cardi B record all of the time. And that's really just a very superficial scratching of the surface of what this article is about, and the depiction of black women in this film. But the fetishization of the race is, I imagine, tough, for sure. But yeah, I think consider that when watching this film. But hey, if I was to give it a number, what would I rate it? A 7 out of 10 is fine by me. Maybe a 6.8. Would I watch it again? Yeah, actually I would.
So my overall take is, before I go on to it, there is one thing this film should get all the Oscars for, and it was for one line right at the end of the film as Sean Penn is describing how he fathered a biracial daughter, and he uses the phrase sperm demon. Mwah! Chef's kiss of a written line and delivery from Sean Penn that if the Oscars was only based on that, it should win every single fucking one. However, I that's not what I think overall in the film. Listening to you talk about the film just then, I do think that one of my main problems with this film is probably a case of expectations. When you hear a film has won 6 Oscars and was nominated for 5 or 6 more, I'm not counting, you expect it to be good. You expect it to be a great film. And even though I actually genuinely knew nothing else about the film other than the fact that it won those Oscars, the film did not meet my expectations, which probably means maybe why I have such a low rated view of this film. I don't think the film is shit in like a generic sense. There were parts I enjoyed. I really, really enjoyed Sean Penn's, I wanted to call him Sean Locke there for a second, Sean Penn's performance. There are some very funny scenes. Sperm demon scene, did enjoy that. I enjoyed the Jobsworth on the other end of the phone who wouldn't tell Leo where to go. I enjoyed Benicio del Toro's performance as well. I just think that overall, maybe it's my expectations, I just think the film was poor. I don't think it was good. I don't think it was great. I don't think it was shit. I don't think it's the worst thing I've ever seen. I just think overall it was poor. I think that a film like that winning 6 Oscars kind of, as I've said before, kind of shows the state of political films within Hollywood. I also think, to James's earlier point about, things hitting you over the head and being on the nail, four of my favorite seasons of television ever are the first 4 seasons of Doctor Who with Chris Eccleston and David Tennant. If you go back and rewatch all of those 56 episodes, including the Christmas specials, there are a lot of political allegories within those episodes. However, they are not hit you over the head, and you go back to watch them now and you're like, oh my god, that's amazing, that's a great metaphor for what goes on in the world, blah 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 blah, and you're stunned at the writing and how good those stories are written.
Can't believe you
and
just
so for this film to also win Best Adapted Screenplay, I mean, I'm comparing it to the best TV show ever made. But the point is the fact that this one also Best Adapted Screenplay, as we've said constantly, how predictable the storyline of the film goes to show, again, another thing of why this film won all those Oscars. The only Oscar it deserves is Sean Penn's. The only other Oscar you can even think that it should have won is Tiana Taylor.
Thank you.
Nomination as well. This film is poor. This film should not have been nominated for this many Oscars. I do not recommend spending 2 hours and 40 minutes of your time watching this film. There are much better films that give you this message with arguably overall better performances. Go watch other films.
I think you're madly
say the same thing.
Overly critical there. I think you've been very measured, but I think poor is a bit far. Alex's expressions there were brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't think this film is worth 2 hours and 40 minutes of your time.
I don't think.
And going on to the fact that you say I don't like long films, 3 films that I've mentioned today that I love are all over 2 hours. I swear, Project Hail Mary and The Martian are all over 2 hours. They grip you all the way throughout.
Oh, that was a comment on us as a podcast.
Want to look away
you do not want
to look away from the screen. Yeah, fair. You do not want to look away from the screen at all. You are fully gripped. You are fully gripped throughout all the 3 of those movies, and those films should have won more Oscars than this one. So
I agree. It's not worth 2 hours. I agree. It's not worth 2 hours and 40 minutes of your time. It is, however, worth 1 hour and 40 minutes of your time where you will be paying attention to the film.
Yeah,
and I didn't. We know I didn't feel the length as much as you guys did. I thought it was fine, but yeah. It's 6 Oscars, maybe too much, and I think the idea of it being it leading into you having high expectations, maybe too high expectations, is absolutely fair, for sure.
But I do think again, going back to our last year's Oscars, Anora won 5 Oscars, and it won I think it got nominated for 6, but it still won 5 Oscars, which still gives you a level of expectation to which the film should meet. And I argue that Anora, a 2 hour plus movie, does it a lot better than this one.
Fair.
With a more interesting story and a less predictable story,
and on the political point, there clearly is a lot of political commentary in this, but I do think that the overall, like, the revolution and then that's what's happening with ISIS. It's a backdrop more than the story. The story isn't about the revolution. The story is about the revolutionaries, but not about the revolution, nor is it about concentration camps in America.
Completely disagree.
They are purely they are a backdrop. They aren't about it. The storyline is about protecting a daughter. It's not about the concentration camps. That is a backdrop of the story.
Yeah. No. The story's not about the revolution. It's about Leo being cuckolded by Sean Penn.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is more about Leo being cuckolded by Sean Penn than it is the revolutionaries themselves. The revolution itself.
Yes. Yeah. No one cares about the revolution. No one cares about immigrants, but people do care about
fucking hell.
Leo.
Cuckolds. They prefer about being cuckolded. As me and James know through our Instagram stories, there are a lot of hotel rooms with a lot of different cuck chairs.
Ah, mate, my hotel room in Shanghai the other year had an absolute. I had in Shanghai an incredible dark wood and glass, grand as fuck desk with a chair and a view of Shanghai. It was the best cuck desk I've ever seen in my life. You don't want to work at that. It's not to work at.
Lead us out, Alex.
It's a viewing platform. Thank you for listening to the Three Takes of Stupidity. This has been the one battle after another episode, and we've tried very hard to keep you entertained, unlike this film. According to Chandler. Me and James sort of liked it. I sort of liked it, James loved it. That's all from me. I've been Alex Clinton. I've been joined by Chandler Monk.
Viva la revolution. As long as it's like Doctor Who.
James Robbins.
I don't know what I said.
What is the fucking...
Just say what time it is. You should say time is a construct.
Should I? Why?
No, that's what it says in the film.
Does it?
Yeah.
Bye, homies.
Brilliant.
Kind of racist.
Leo says homies a lot in this film.
Our One Piece. He does say homies a lot.
He says homies a lot.
It's a bit unnerving. And one piece of advice from us this week. if you are going to be a terrorist, make sure you are well clear of the bomb before you start having sex. Goodbye.
I mean,
And remember,
solid
time
advice.
doesn't exist, but it controls us anyway. See ya!
Please don't forget to rate and review the podcast on your platform of choice. It really helps us grow. Make sure to follow us on our socials and our individual Letterboxd accounts. The links can be found in the description or at www.hop.bio/3takes or search for 3 Takes of Stupidity on most platforms. We're most active on TikTok, Instagram and YouTube. Please send us your film and trilogy suggestions to our Hop page on social media, or you can email us at 3takesofstupidity@gmail.com. Thank you and hope to have you back.